My name is Ari Strauch. I work for 5 Blocks. It's a fabulous company, a reputation management company located in Jerusalem, Israel, right outside of Jerusalem. But what I want to speak about today is thriving online with just email and analytics. And the idea is turning in any business into the industry leader using only internet basics. And what I say about that is, we're here at an analytics conference. We're talking a lot about analytics and technical stuff and everything like that. And I want to sort of dial it back for a second and to get back to the fundamentals and say what exactly, the analytics is really a means to an end. It's not an end. An end is to have a successful business. So how do we tie these analytics that we've been talking about into more of the fundamental basics to have our business thriving online? So first of all, why online marketing? Why all these conferences? Why all these discussions about online marketing? How is it any different than anything we've ever done? It used to be that, a person in the old days, people would drive and you'd advertise on a billboard. And all these people, millions of people will be driving by the billboard, and maybe 5% of those people would care what the billboard said. Maybe 1% of those people would actually act on it, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we have people actually coming and searching for these things. If you sell tables, if you sell chairs, we know that people are coming into search engines or wherever and actually typing in, I want a table or I want a chair or whatever it is. This is truly remarkable. We take it for granted because we've seen it already for so long, for all these years, but it's really remarkable that we have such an efficient marketing strategy as opposed to the way it used to be. And on top of that, with analytics, it could all be tracked. So again, this is really unheard of until recently. So what are the steps to get there, to have this thriving online business? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to build or improve on your online store that we have. So it's like we've heard many times in the sessions up until now, we want to give the customers what they want. It's not a matter of, I'm going to build a website, and since my industry is trains or planes or whatever it is, therefore I need to have Flash, therefore I need to have JavaScript. The type of site that we need is the type of site that that our target market is looking for, okay? And if our site answers the customer's questions, whether it's the most complicated site in the world or the most simple site in the world, then we're already way, way, way ahead of the game. Because that's what we want to do, is answer the customer's questions. So how do we build that perfect site? So the first thing, which is Brian just discussed, is keywords. It used to be I opened a chair store and I just sort of had to guess how people were looking for it. Today, I open a chair store and someone is actually typing in chairs. Someone is actually typing in blue chairs. Someone is actually typing in red chairs. These are truly things that, back in the day, they can only have dreamed of. When you were opening, imagine you're opening up a drugstore and people are walking by your drugstore and you know the exact words that people are looking for when they walk by that drugstore. We may just figure, well, they're looking for drugstore. They may be looking for something else. They may be looking for big drugstore or small drugstore. Now we have this data. Now the data is, in our analytics world, it's a lot less than it used to be because of, they don't give us a lot of the information anymore in analytics, but there's still plenty of data out there. There's webmaster tools, there is Google AdWords, there's internal, your internal site search, looking through information for that, and even, I won't get into it here, but syncing up your analytics and your AdWords together, you can still get a lot in analytics. So there's still tons of keyword data out there. So we can build our site based on that. Again, something that was never had before, and all that is still free and basic and that anyone can do. Next, competitive research. We just go, if we are starting a chair store, we can go to some of the great chair sites out there and mimic what they're doing. We can see what is working for them. All for free. This is all just knowledge that we can find on the internet. And when we can see how these things are working, to mimic them, to mimic the keywords they're using, to mimic the processes they're using, to mimic the privacy options they're giving, all these things, and knowing that they're successful, we know they work. So we want to follow along, again, along the theme of giving the customer what they want. An important way to do this is to develop a persona. You know, when we build a website, we don't want to just build a website and has been beaten to death here for the last couple of days and guess. We don't want to guess. We have all these tactics we can use, and one of the most powerful things that, again, is free is developing a persona of just asking, who are my target visitors? If I'm selling TVs, who are the typical people that do that? Is it 35-year-old white females? Is it, older senior citizens? All these things, and when we think about it like that, again, these are things that are taken for granted, but when you think about it like that, it really opens up, I think, a lot of doors to know that, well, if this is my target, if it's people of my mother's age, they're looking for something. If it's someone else, they're looking for something else. And a lot of times, just by asking that question, a lot of those doors will open in your mind to see, wow, maybe this is how I should be doing it. So again, giving the customer what they want, building the website, answering all of their questions from the start. And then, of course, the reason we're all here, Google Analytics. Analytics is crucial. All these things that we were never able to do, again, in the real world. When we opened our drugstore, we couldn't just make a drugstore, see what someone likes, change it, see, oh, they didn't like this, I'll quickly change the main sign on the store. It's impossible. It doesn't work like that. You've put in a lot of money into the store, you've built your store, you're pretty much going to have to deal with it until the next major renovation. Here, it's not like that, all because of analytics. Analytics, we can see this. These are powerful things that we have online that we never had before. Truly, truly remarkable. So as long as we're constantly testing these changes and going with what works, you really shouldn't be able to fail. So what now? Someone coming and, I think many of us have been in this situation before, either on your own in business or working for a company when you have a site and you need results fast. And all these things, SEO or SEM or AdWords, SEO takes a long time. AdWords costs a lot of money. Everything has a problem. There's no surefire answer, and the bosses, oftentimes, especially if you're working for an agency, they want fast answers. So what are the ways that we can use all these tools that are available online that were never available before and get them to apply them right now to our store and make things happen in a hurry? So the online world provides us with the answer to this question, I believe, which we just did not have in the real world before. Industry leaders and influencers. The key. When you're looking for whatever niche you're in, you want to find the people that are considered the knowledgeable ones in the industry, the ones that people care about. They know your target market and they cater to them, right? That's where your people are. They are a destination for your target market. They are a trusted voice. What they say, your customers are going to listen to. A mention from them is more likely to carry weight and get a link, which will be better for rankings, another means to an end, not necessarily an end. But again, coming from the industry leader will be better than coming from Joe Schmo. They're more likely to get you good referrals. They're in the places you want to be. And most important, again, all these things, it's your targeted market. This isn't about rankings. This isn't about proving numbers or anything. This is a matter of bottom line. You are getting your targeted marketers. If you get to these industry leaders and you get the people that are following them, they will come to you and they're the people you want. It's not a matter of giving your boss, well, I just raised the traffic, I raised this, I raised that. You're going to be raising all this with qualified people, targeted people who want what you have. So how do we find these industry influencers and these industry leaders? Now, again, a key part, before I get into it, I just want to say, I keep coming back to it in that all these things, it's practical. It's practical and it's inexpensive. These aren't things, we don't need a tool to find these. In the old days, you maybe would pay a lot of money to get a phone listing of relevant people. Maybe they were relevant, maybe they weren't. You did all these different things, but today we don't need any of that. All we need is a computer and an internet connection to find these industry leaders. All these things are ways to find those industry experts. And it doesn't cost anything. We can just sit down and we say, I am looking for the people who know, the people who count, the people who influence in my industry, and you can find it right there. Really, again, an amazing thing that was just not available before. How do we use these industry influencers? Right? So how do they work for us? So I just said, this is the secret. If you get these people, you're in. What can we do with them? Okay? I sell windows. I went to the top window guy. What can I do? We want to establish a relationship with them. And this is where I came out with, thriving online with just email and analytics. Email, very powerful. We just write to them and we say, dear sir, whatever it is you want to say. I'm in the industry, I'd like help from you. Comment on their posts, again, to show that, engage with them. Blog about them, get them to become evangelists for you, get them to refer you, get them to link to you, get them to vouch for you. Establishing these things with these industry influencers will get you, it'll get you to where you want to be. Now, the means to getting, it'll get you higher rankings, it'll get you targeted visitors, it'll get you everything, but the ultimate goal is to get people to do what you want them to do on your site. So this will get them. That's how we want to do it. That's how we use these industry influencers. So now, the big question. How do we contact these people? Why should they just talk to, a nobody? These are the questions that I get all the time. Why should they talk to me? If I sell cars, so you're telling me that I can just go to the biggest car dealer in the world and say to them, hey, link to me, vouch for me? Why would they do that? How can you contact these people? How can you, speak to them in their language? Or, having a CEO who's making $1 billion a year, how could you get him not to say, first of all, just to hit delete? Or to say, I will never answer this person. Who is this person to be contacting me? And it sounds harsh, but I'd say 90%, 99% of the time, that's probably the response that we would get. So how can we tackle that? First thing, email. Like I said, email is so powerful. We were just talking outside the other day. People, the word on the street is email's dead. Email is not dead. Maybe for our 14-year-olds or whatever, they'd rather be on Instagram or whatever, but people still read their emails. People still, go to work. They still open up their emails every morning. Many of them still engage with their emails on a regular basis, constantly, not just like Twitter. It works. But what do? You don't just email them. Research who you're contacting, and be personable. Don't just write, the typical case, dear webmaster. That is not going to work. Or, to whom it may concern. Do some work. Again, it's minimal work, and it's free work, but it's practical. Go to the site and see, wow, this guy's name is Mike. The guy that owns the site's name is Mike. The guy that controls the site's name is Mike. The guy that will decide if he's going to endorse me is named Mike. Okay, Mike. I go to his Facebook or LinkedIn, whatever. Mike's from New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. Already there gives you something to speak to him about in the email. Already you're establishing a connection. He likes, Caleb was discussing Seahawks, you have a sports team that you have in common. All these things open up, you'd be shocked how much these things open up the conversation with them and get them thinking that, rightly, that you're a real person. They get these emails all the time. But we want them to know that I am a regular person, I am reaching out to you just as a regular person, as nothing more. No strings attached. Again, continuing, learning about their personality and about them professionally. Know their sites and web properties. Provide suggestions to improve and fix their sites. This is also crucial. Another reason, why should they answer me? Well, you come to them and say, hey, I noticed that you have a broken link on your site. I noticed this page doesn't work. They love it. They eat it up. For you to say, again, it shows you're not just some bozo. You care, and you do care. And you know, if you want to think about it, you know, not just because we're such great people, but genuinely, if you're in the car industry and there's a major BMW has a page out there that's not working and BMW's site doesn't look good, that's not good for the industry. And BMW does not want a page that does not work. And you'd be surprised how many major sites there are that have these issues. So again, this is another opening to get to the people and say, hey, you know, I want to talk to you and I can do you a favor on top of everything else. And just getting your, you know, the proverbial foot in the door. Show an eagerness to learn, but don't be, you know, don't be arrogant. You know, I had one of the best examples I had was I had a girl who was working for me, and that was one of our things was outreach. And she came to me, you know, we had a couple of people that were really targeting that we knew if we got to them, this is going to be good for rankings, for customers, for everything. And she's like, I can't do it. I have absolutely no connection to what these people do. I have no idea. I don't know, you know, I don't know his name is Mike. I don't know what he likes. I don't know. It's just not going to work. What do I do? We sat down, we wrote a letter. We said, Dear Mike, or Dear Steve, Dear Joe, my name is Susan, and my boss is going to kill me. I need help. I don't know anything about your industry. I don't know any, you know, I'd love to be able to say that I can discuss your chemistry problems with you, but I don't. But man, my boss is going to kill me. Is there anything you can do to help me? You'd be surprised how much that works. It's incredible. Many times they'll write back, CEOs, big people will write back, oh, well, what can I do for you? I don't want to get this girl fired. You know, and they really think like that. And it's really amazing. And a couple of other details about this is that, again, all these things are just basic. Take out an Excel sheet, a Word document, whatever it is. It's very important to be organized. Nothing to do with analytics, nothing to do with technical, just to be organized. To write down, I wrote 5 people today, I wrote this person today, I didn't get an answer. You know, I did get an answer. I got a link, I didn't get a link. They might help me, they'll get back to me in 2 weeks, they won't, never, whatever it is, very important. Very, very important. Even I know many people, I was very guilty of this before, was, well, I'll remember this stuff. You won't. Everything should be jotted down. Again, as simple as what they told you in first grade, as simple as that. I wrote Joe on the 5th, he didn't answer me, I wrote him again, he said no, goodbye. That's it, you're done. The only other thing that I'd add to that, and this is again very, very important, is be strict with follow-ups. You can write all these people emails, you don't get any answer, and you're like, forget it, man, I knew it, they're not going to answer me. You'd be surprised, just a one-time follow-up, 7 to 10 days later, the results, the percentage of your success rates skyrocket. Really, really skyrocket. You know, incredibly. Just one follow-up. If you just write to them and say, hey, regarding the below, I never heard from you, and I was just, you know, desperately, you know, if you can get back to me, I'd love to hear from you, from an industry hero like you. Really, you know, you don't have to kiss their ass, like, but to some extent, yes. And you'd be surprised how many times I've gotten back and go, oh yeah, you're right, I'm sorry, I didn't see this, sorry. Did they see it or not? I don't know. But it's incredible how much that works. Without, and you know, the first letter, all right, you want to establish a relationship. With this letter, I mean that literally. Have one template that says, hey, I never heard from you, you know, I was hoping to hear from you, you know, I just wanted to make sure you got this. Copy, paste into the email. Incredible how much that works. So what happens? So now you have all this. You've gotten, you know, you have the perfect site that answers all of your customers' questions. You have links and people vouching you from the industry leaders. You have people coming into you from industry leaders. You have targeted users coming into you. You're set, you're loving it, it sounds great. So what happens now? You'd be surprised how much work you have to do to maintain the success. If you just leave it, I see this all the time online. It's really incredible. You think that I've done the work and you can leave it. You can't leave anything on the web. Even if it seems like all the work is done, just, you know, I don't know if this is a proven Google thing. Some people say it is, but just being stagnant is bad, is negative. There should always be activity, and you'd be surprised at the little bit of activity that could be talking about just to keep things going. If you just leave it and set it and forget it, it'll lose. But that little bit of tweaking here and there, I mean, ideally a lot more, but just keeping up with things and maintaining it does wonders. Now, in terms of the industry leaders, these people, you don't want to just like, hey, I got what I need from them, goodbye. You want to nurture the relationship. You know, first of all, just because it's a nice thing to do. And second of all, because you want to show them, you know, now you've proven to them you weren't just a robot. You've proven to them you are a person. You want to keep proving that to them. You know, you want to show these people that you're still a real person, A, because, again, it's nice, and B, because otherwise your business is not going to be successful. If you want them to keep referring you, they're going to want to see those things. And can I tell you, these people will keep referring to you. I have a couple of sites that I made a couple of years ago that we've since sold, and I still, a couple of years later, get emails from people saying, hey, you know, referring customers to me. Because we established these relationships, and they're like, hey, Ari, that's right, you know, remember, hey, I have another customer. Are you still doing this? You know, you want to nurture it. You want to continue speaking with them. You want to follow up. You want to still be in the industry. You don't want to just be like, hey, I spoke to them, now I'm out here. You want to keep going into those industry blogs. You want to keep going into those industry directories. You want to still be in contact with people. You still want to know what's going on. You know, you want to show them that you are an industry resource and you're someone that can be trusted, and they will keep referring you. Bottom line, be nice. Again, it works. Social media, again, a matter of finding your target audience in the social media and still staying on top of the industry, of talking to them and always knowing what's happening. You know, if you're on your Facebook, so instead of talking to your friend, just remember to be in the chair, you know, the Facebook that has a chair group. Or if you're selling tables, the table group. All these things to stay on top of it, and that's the way to stay on top in these groups. They're constantly going, they're constantly showing you who the industry leaders are, and it will constantly keep getting you more referrals. The interactive web, also, to stay with that as well. Again, free, just a matter of legwork. Going to staying in the, you know, in the chair forums, in the chair directories, and still speaking. You know, people are on every topic on the internet. It's incredible how there is a niche group for it out there somewhere. For, you know, black people under the age of 15 who like romance novels. It's incredible. You can find these things, and when you think about just that example I just gave, that was impossible years ago. Imagine now that we can open these stores and we can target these exact people. You know, such a thing just didn't exist. Now we can do that. We can go directly to those people. We can say whatever it is we want to say to them without, like I said in the beginning, having a billboard and just hoping, with no way of knowing if it's working or not, that the people care. We know these people care. Content creation and marketing, again, another basic of the online world. You want to be giving the demands of your audience. You know, if you're selling chairs, if you're selling cars, and you're a guy that writes articles about chairs or cars in these places, they respect you. It's great for rankings, and it's great for them knowing that you are a trustworthy figure, and they will buy from you, and they will do whatever it is that you want. Very important. And like I said before, to a certain extent, it's a matter of creating just for the sake of creating. Because when you're stagnant, it's just not good in Google's eyes. Reputation management, like I said, that's the company that I work with now. But today, reputation management has become more important than ever. So we want to be careful of that also. We went there, we opened a car site, we became a very good car site. People are coming to us, and again, you'd be surprised how fast this can happen. A lot of times people just say, well, I'll worry about it then. You'd be surprised. With these tactics of going to industry leaders, you'd be surprised how not just affordable, but fast and efficient these methods go. And it really, you know, if you're not prepared, you can get all of a sudden a real shot of traffic and not be ready for it. So you want to be ready for it, and when you are big, you also want to be ready for the fact that people then try and tear you down, and that there'll be some negative results in there. So you want to constantly be monitoring that as well. Summary and conclusion, and that's you know, how I want to close the whole thing by saying, you know, the analytics, for example, is not an end. It's a means to an end. It's not an end. The end is to have a successful business. And the online world provides us with these opportunities that, affordable and apply to anyone, and we can make it work. Take advantage of it, and that's all I have for you.